Welcome, everyone. The essence of business driven HR. This is the topic for today's presentation. So, basically, we are looking HR as an integral part of the business operations. So, what was HR doing as of present? How are we doing now? Basically, are we an employee management relationship officer? Are we putting forward of management plan and executing them? Are we putting forward the grievances of the employees towards the management? So basically, if this is what we are doing as of today, as in HR present, so what is it goes to be encompassing it as in future, the HR future? Where is HR seem to be going through? Now, this is what we would like to discover in today's presentations and probably discuss it today with you. The top six potential drivers of HR changes, if you're looking into it as a part of a business strategy, yes, that is what is the 99% of the stages view is all about it. Human resources, employees are no longer termed as a cost liability or cost center, but probably as a business partner in the longer term. Now, if they can be a partners, we are only going to strengthen our business objectives. So that is a part of a business strategies. Next would be the views of senior management. Can we change that? Can it be in favor of being from a dominant positions to be a collaboration positions? If that is what we are looking at, it again has a high weightage. A slightly less weightage goes for cultural values. Cultural values is where we need to understand that birds of same feather flock together. So if the culture of every individual matches with that of an organization, it has a synergistic effect. Let us understand the HR strategy. The HR strategy, the fourth one on the category, is all about the facilities, the perks, the incentives, the positioning of the management with respect towards its employees or stakeholders per se. Next is the cost pressures. Obviously, yes, cost pressures and employee needs is something which we are obviously not putting much of a stress, but nevertheless, did I say six potential drivers? Yes, HR employees are still viewed as a cost centers. Now, these cost centers need to be converted into revenue centers per se, and that is what we can do it if we can meet the employees' need and probably ask for justified reciprocation from their ends. They will be looking into the organizational need thereby. So the six challenges now what to do, how to go around it. First and foremost thing is the HR roles. With the evolving pattern, the changes, the expectations of not only the employees but also of that management has gone undergone a sea changes. Approximately 42% of the response rate says we need to define the new HR roles. That might be a challenging for the HR employees. Insufficient resources at their disposal in terms of perks, benefit, in terms of leeways that has been given. Dealing with skill gaps, if we are looking into it, one of the major issues with HRs is not finding the right match between the employees and the things thereby. So let us look into it. The ineffective technology is all about 35%. We are talking around here, and the resistance to technology is 23%. Now, 23% of the resistance to technology comes around it. We are looking at ineffective process change, 17% that comes around as on when on basis. If we are looking for process change thereby, how do we go across with it? Now, the HR value pyramids, the increasing transformations of HR functions, that is of business partnerships. And if you look into it from the basic administration, right at the bottom of the pyramid goes to a transactions wherein you are working, giving your time, effort, skills in lieu of money, salary, wages. There's a transactional relationship to from a consultative process that was mostly reactive in origin, but now it has become too proactive. So that is what we are looking into is see the transformation of HR functions right from the bottom of the pyramid to the top of the pyramid as a business partner, increasing the devaluations of HR activity to line managers. So let us understand what we are looking into it. If we say so, the HR strategies and the policies, as the case might be, if this is what comes around as on when on basis, what should be done? So we have the HR driver goals. We are looking at organizational resources, functionals, the adaptive capacity, the user acceptance, HR change model, and the HR outcomes, as the case might be. This is what we should be employing or focusing upon. Deciding on the technical architecture. Option one is HR core system with integrated modules that can be switched on, probably configured to create a single human resource information systems as on when on basis. Option two is HR core system with modules bought in, configured, hosted separately, still on an internal network, and connected back to the core system. Option 3 is the HR core system with modules, which is again managed externally and connected back over a web to a core system, also known as an application service provider or provisions as an ASP. Option 4 is outsource everything, including the system, including the core human resource information system, to a third party and let them manage it. So if we look into it, there are possible combinations of option 2 and 3 where some modules can be outsourced and some can be managed internally, as in the case might be. So this is what the technical architectures of the EHR drive focuses upon. Let us understand the outcomes of EHR thing. There are positives and negatives. Looks at the intended positives would be the reduction in average transaction cost. Definitely, yes, we are looking at to hammer down the cost. 62% reduction in the length of the time, probably making it much more efficient, and 50% reduction in inquiries directly to the HR. Why? Because they can access all the information on the web, probably on in the intranet. The negatives intended is 30 to 35 reduction in the HR count, head count. People who are exclusively working for HRs only and their headcount gets reduced drastically, approximately it becomes reduced by one third. And intellectual properties and data ownership transfers to the outsourced party. Obviously, yes, the vendor will come to know about everything that has been operationally functional in the organization. Now, unintended positives cannot get through the organization, probably progress only constrained by the HR, cannot get through the organization because it has been very transparent and probably the HR fellows will lose their hold as far as the operations efficacy is concerned. Unintended positives are greater sense of organizational innovativeness, greater sense of progress, model through adoptions of e-sophistication or EHR, work overload, alienation of HR, role ambiguity, poor perceptions, usefulness, and benefits, and poor communication thereby. Now, these are the unintended negatives per se. The emergence of web. What is that happening around? Web 2.0 is different from the earlier web versions of 1.0, which was focused only on a one-way generation and publication of online content. Web 2.0 is a ready, read write, web providing democratic architecture for participations, encouraging people to share ideas, promote discussion, and fostering a greater sense of community per se. This is what Martin Reddington and NFC said in way back 2009. So yes, Web 2.0 is much more interactive than Web 1.0, which was mostly static in nature. So let us look into the scenarios. The employees are, or other users are actually utilizing the inputs, the web content. They are managing the web content. They are enriching the web content. They're editing the web content. Opinions in the form of online rating, voting, likes, shares are being posted upon it. Applications such as widgets, social media technologies, widely available example include blogs, wikis, media sharing sites like let's say Flickr.com or YouTube, social networking in terms of MySpace, LinkedIn, Facebook, or anything that comes around it. Virtual worlds, example, a Second Life. Absolutely wonderful in the metaverse that you can work about it. RSS feed, as the case might be. What does it leads to from HR generated data insights to social media technology, and the HR output is resonating with the fifth generation's preferred form of communication, probably learning, getting them on the WhatsApp. More effective listening to employees by giving them new ways to express authentic voice, more effective thereby. So the business of HR, how we are looking into it, the first and the foremost thing, it is the core of organizational development. Creating a high performance work environment is what we are looking for. Designing new organizational architecture, workforce modeling, using technology to advance knowledge sharing and innovation. building a compelling brand for the employer. Now, this is what we are aspiring for the business of HR, as the case might be. Let us explore some scenarios and probably try to map capabilities thereby. Now, principles are very simple. It is automated, it is standardized, it is integrated. The levels are working draft. Who is going to do it? What is to be done? Where it is to be done? When it is to be done? And how it is to be done? These answers need to be questioned and probably needs to be explored. Who, what, where, when, and how. Probably we can refine it to the level 2 and 3 and come up with a blueprint as fixed position, fixed person needs to be responsible for fixed kind. So let us understand the blueprint. We need to understand the system requirements, the training material, the CBA or cost benefit analysis. We need to look after the change. Is it evolving? Is the plan evolving? Organizational design, role design, and so on and so forth. That needs to be a custom. Let us look into process examples: sickness absence, benefits, improvement in data accuracy and credibility, better managed as issues are more visible, stop duplication of local system, probably mismatch in data, easier management interventions on a sickness class. If you look into it, how do we go ahead with it? The challenges are managers and engagements, training needs, management wishing to cover up an issue, state of IT infrastructures, employee and access. Now, this is what we are generally costing around it. So, benefits are improved data accuracy and credibility, better manage issues, multiple duplication has been avoided, and probably easier intervention has been done. Challenges are managers engagement. The managers keeps on they are 24/7 accessible, and probably 24/7 problems keeps on coming onto the desk. This might affect their mental health or their personal life. Training requirement is there, obviously, to fulfill the skill gaps. Management wishing to cover up issues gone. So, example of survey statement: HR structures and role. The wider the organization has a clear vision for the role it wants HR to perform. Now, things needs to be clear. There's a clear, agreed structure of HR which supports the vision. HR roles are clearly defined and understood within the HR teams. In terms of strategies, policies, and process, HR process have been designed to streamline and cost efficient as possible. HR process have clear end-to-end connectivity. The value, not just cost, of delivering HR process is clearly misunderstood. HR information system and technology, there is a high level of usage of EHR through the business managers and staff find EHR to be extremely useful to them. HR system are integrated with systems, as the case might be. We're talking about people and culture. HR enjoys an excellent profile within the business. The HR functions operate as one and only one team. HR is seen largely as positive, supporting the business and achieving business goals, rather than mostly reactive, dealing with issues that they arise as and when they arise. As far as HR performance goes, HR is able to articulate its values, positions to the wider organization. The performance of HR function is an upward path. HR costs are optimized without qualities. Now, let us look into the HR functional evolutions. They might be traditional, transitional, and transform. From traditional is hierarchical, strong transactional roles, absolutely defined roles we are looking into it, alignment of the business based on the seniority. Then comes the transitional, which moves from traditional. It becomes more fluid in structure. It is more flexible. There are services which are shared. Business goes to a relevant persons only. And now is an age of being transformed, completely a different degree, different level. So minimal hierarchy, strong usage of EHR, project-based work based on business partnership thereby. Now, what are we looking as people management function? What does increasing devolutions of people management responsibilities mean for line managers, and how do we go across with it? So let us understand there are many problems, many issues that HR keeps on facing day in, day out from few decades back and probably from the few decades ahead also. There might be short-term problem, long-term problem, business level problems, formal, informal, compliance issues, enterprise issues. You look at it, at the core of it is the tensions among the employees. It is the tensions among the humans and the employee governance thereby. So compliance versus enterprise, compliance is always, remember, is always not an optional thing. It is a mandatory thing. It is essentially that the company-wide policies, the best practices, consistent failure in compliance will result in absolute dismissal. Absolute dismissal. Whereas managers are now being trained to engender, should I say, into new team spirit. It's in the camaraderie feeling that needs to be seeded and probably sprouted in among the team members. Encourage team members to give their very best. This means going the extra mile, continuously improving performance, and daring to take the initiative at the larger level. The company encourages them to accept questions. Absolutely. Now, what are we looking at in terms of business driven and people driven? What it goes around it. Look, HR services, it is done over a period of phone. It is done over a computer. It is done over like a Q&A sessions. Doesn't begin to put a human element into consideration. It can be automated completely. I think it is just going to lead to more conflict. I don't think so. It's necessarily going to get the best value of the people. People are getting to be accessing information as on when on requirement. They need not go to the blue book. They just need to find out as a Q&A sessions, and probably the Autobots in the website will be able to guide them. With this, I come to an end of this presentation. Thank you for watching this video.